To Aaron Boone, Yankee manager. The Aaron Boone Report on 98.7 ESPN is brought to you by Cooper Tire, and we welcome in the manager of the Yanks. Aaron, it's Michael, Don, and Peter. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
We're doing okay. You've had some time, obviously, to think about the final series against the Astros. Have you come up with anything that would explain the way you guys did play? Because obviously you guys are better than that, okay, getting swept by the Astros. So is there anything you think that you should have done differently or players should have done differently? That's where we should start off, I would think.
I think you always look back and, first of all, this time of year, unfortunately, when there's two other teams still playing, is like it's hard. It's probably the most brutal time for all of us. That you pour so much into the season. Starting, frankly, now we're starting to make our preparations and go through our, free agent calls and things like that, getting ready for the next season. And, there's so many things that go into that and efforts from so many people and the kind of the blood, sweat, and tears of the year and the finality of it all. I've always kind of said it's kind of cruel, the ending, especially when you get close. And, so there's just that disappointment and that feeling of you didn't reach the ultimate goal, and that's it makes for a hard time, but you deal with it the best you can, and you keep pushing on and try and find where you can continue to get better.
Is there one move, Aaron, or one play you think back to that series that stands out among the others?
I don't know. I mean, I obviously I know there's questions on moves here and there. I don't know. There's things that you toil with all the time, that are close calls for you. I know taking Garrett out was a big thing amongst people, from what I understand. And it was a situation where we're in a 2-0 game down and kind of up against it there, bases loaded, no out situation, and you're weighing like, do I go for the weak contact right here? That's one where I feel like maybe I should have stayed with Garrett, and you go for the strikeout, and then maybe go to the pen and try and get the ground ball that you're looking for, where it brings both the sinker and the slider into play with our reliever, in that case Trevino. That, but ultimately just not being able to quite get over the hump against a team that's clearly kind of right now setting the standard in the American League, and just didn't quite get to where we need to be, and that's frustrating. So you kind of look to where you can try and continue to improve, and that's what we'll continue to do.
I don't know what the protocol is, Aaron, in terms of when you start talking with players, but Garrett is under control for another 6 years, so he's a Yankee for a long time. Have you guys spoken? Mm-hmm. Did he articulate, why would you take me out there, Skip? I mean, I'm the ace of the staff.
No, nothing like that. And I mean, we speak, and no, but we haven't had that conversation of why would you take me out there?
Do you think there's anything, Aaron, like year to year, as far as the lack of sort of hitting in the playoffs, hitting for power in the playoffs the way you guys do in the regular season? Is there any mental piece that you think like maybe gets in people's head from year to year that this is a thing that we struggle to hit the ball in the playoffs?
Yeah, I think that's frankly been a little bit overblown. If you go back to some of the series we've had where we have swung the bats, especially against some really good pitching opponents, which is obviously the case in when you get to the playoffs. But yeah, you're always trying to find a more perfect team, a more perfect offense. Sometimes it's a case of getting the right guys hot in a right situation. Sometimes it's a case of maybe, missing a couple key pieces that you feel like really complete your lineup. But I do think there's a lot of series that we've had over the years where there's that, we haven't hit, when actually we kind of have. Obviously Houston was able to shut us down. We scored 2 runs twice. We got shut out once, and then I think we scored 5 in that last game. So, and look, we knew going in that Houston, was probably about as a complete a pitching team as we've seen in these last several years, from a starting rotation standpoint to a bullpen standpoint. So we knew we were going to have to be at our best, but, unfortunately we just couldn't break through enough against them. But, you're always searching to get a little bit better, a little more versatile, a little more complete. And then, having that kind of catching fire a little bit too. You got to have that working for you as well.
It's so interesting talking to you as opposed to talking to other managers and coaches in New York. 5 years, made the playoffs all 5 years. In 4 of the full seasons, you're averaging in the high 90s in wins. But what separates the Yankees from everybody else, Aaron, is you're expected to win every single year. So the fans look at you as being a failure for 5 years because you didn't win a championship in the 5 years. But how do you look at it internally? Do you look at what has been accomplished here in the 5 years as a success? Or do you look at it as the fans and say, we failed at our mission statement?
Well, I don't know if I look at it either way. Look, I think we've done a lot of really good things. But ultimately, look, the reason I came back into this, there are a number of reasons. You want that competition. You want to be part of a team. You want to be part of that group, that team camaraderie, working to build something special, all those things. But ultimately, it's to win the ultimate prize, to compete for the ultimate prize and win the ultimate prize, and that's a world championship. So, to varying degrees, we've had a team that's at least very much in that mix or in that run for it. So anytime it ends, it's a disappointment, and hurts a lot. This time of year, it's frankly a little bit brutal. It's the worst time of the year to have other teams still playing, and you haven't reached your ultimate goal. And that's certainly was our goal going into this season, was to, win a division title and get in the dance and ultimately win a world championship. And to fall short of that is brutal. But, you also look back at a lot of the, I think good things that have happened over those years, and realize how difficult it really is.
The owner of the Yankees, Hal Steinbrenner, was quoted down in Tampa as saying, Aaron Boone is my manager. We like the job that he's done. Aaron, at any point after this, did you think that your job was in jeopardy?
Oh, I don't know.
Do you worry about that stuff?
I really don't. Obviously last year, when my contract was up, obviously that was speculated on a lot, and I didn't even worry about it then. It's like, if it works out and we come together and work out a deal, great. We were able to do that. So I think finishing this year, I didn't look at it like that. I look at it as, I've got a few years left on my contract, and the goal doesn't stop, even though there's the disappointment and the finality of the end of this season. You also got to pick yourself up off the mat and understand that, now starts the building towards next year and trying to get to this point and ultimately push through. That's what you continue to work for, and that's what you focus on. You don't really worry about the job security. You understand that comes with the territory, and you certainly understand that when you sign up in this profession or this role. It goes with it, and I understand the disappointment of not reaching our ultimate goal, here probably more than anywhere else where that is the expectation. But at the same time, I wouldn't want it any other way, because it matters here, and you want to be part of something and doing something that matters to a lot of people.
So